This is chapter 46, or in Espanol, 46. I love Espanol. Um, I study as much as I can. I love the language. I suck at it. Um, yo hablo español muy mal. Muy, muy. Hablo como un gringo. Gringuísimo! All right. So this is, like I said, chapter 46 of the world's longest suicide note. I am Roger, and I'm putting the whole note together because I'm suicidal. Lately, it seems more often than not, and that sucks. So, but one day at a time, one day at a time. So, but what I'm not, it's not about what I am, it's about what I'm not. And what I'm not is I'm not a mental health professional, provider, practitioner of any kind. There you go. Alrighty, so I've chosen. I was just thinking about it today. Prior, obviously, I wasn't thinking about it in the future. But I was wanting to talk about something that seems a little weird to talk about in this venue of suicide. But that is comfortable shoes. Comfortable shoes. And there's a reason kind of I'm going to talk about it. So let's just dive in and talk about comfortable shoes. So the deal with comfortable shoes is for the longest time, when I was growing up, and I've talked about this part of it before, so this isn't going to be new if you've watched the other videos. So I, like many folks who deal with severe mental illness and suicidal ideation, suicidal behavior, addiction is something that's pretty common. A pretty common thing that we deal with, and it's not there's no mystery there. It's not, you don't need a genius level IQ to figure that out. Basically, anything that gives us relief, we have the tendency to, like that cartoon with that big monster thing, and it's like, this is my friend George, and I love him, I pet him, oh, I killed him. That kind of thing. That's how anything that takes our pain away for any amount of time, that's what the mentality is like, oh, it's ours, it's fuzzy and it's warm, and I just love him so much. And before you know it, it's a problem. So I've dealt with many kind of challenges in my life, such as that, and one of them was food. I had a food addiction, and the addiction part was I was constantly trying to eat my pain away, and then comfort myself, and then I'd feel bad about it, and then I'd eat more, and it's a vicious cycle, like depression itself. So yeah, addiction is is something that hand in hand, baby, hand in hand, like peaches and cream, like peas and carrots. Anyway, so that being said, like a lot of folks who choose to medicate with food, my weight was always a challenge. And the weight wasn't the challenge. It was my perception of the weight. It was who I thought I was versus who I saw in the mirror. And honestly, that's kind of the same with the other addictions I've had too. That's not just because of food. But I mean, when you overeat all the time, there's going to be signs of it. And that's, I didn't feel good. I just didn't want to, and the worse I felt about where I was and that, it made me want to eat more. So, anyway, y'all know about addictions. So when I was heavy, and I was in, full on in the shit, in the mind weeds, going through things, and the start of my self-care, honestly, the first thing I did to myself, did for myself, and I used to think that eating was self-care. It's like, oh, I'm taking care, I'm self-medicating, that was not self-care. It's funny what you'll do, your mind will tell you to accept things that you're doing. I mean, what we do. And if you could hear the leaf blower, I apologize. It's the morning and they're blowing outside. So the good thing is that we really needed it. So because you can't see where the stripes are in the parking lot. So I'm not going to complain too much about it. So why I talk about comfortable shoes, because really it's the first time I actually prioritized self-care. So I was at my heaviest. I weighed myself before I went on like a massive weekend bender that I actually ate so much where I threw up. I weighed 324 pounds. And so I'm guessing I actually topped it a little bit more than that. But this is what you did when you're in that, and you feel like you're going to be giving that up, and so you just want to grab it all and stick it all in your mouth. So, but the first real piece of conscious self-care that I did that cost money. I mean, because one of the things that you have to choose to do is sometimes your self-care you have to prioritize monetarily. And that is, I bought myself some comfortable shoes. I knew, okay, I'm very much overweight. I need to change things. I need to start exercising, but I need to do it in a way that, because I've started diets 100 times, I've started exercise programs 100 times, and they've all failed. And so what I changed this time, and part of that self-care was saying, I'm going to not care about what's going on for a year, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start eating a little less. I'm going to start walking, and every day I'm going to go to the next street light. So I do the same route every day. Then I go to the next street light, and that added the next day's kind of challenge. And so I'd increase. And then once that started getting easier, and then I would carry a backpack and walk a little faster. And just add the resistance, all while training myself to eat a little bit less every day. I didn't weigh myself. I didn't put the pressure of numbers or metrics on it. These were all things I did so to enable myself to be successful. And one of them was I bought the most expensive shoes I can afford, the most comfortable, shoes, the ones with the most support, because I was overweight, my joints hurt. Um, and so it was painful because I used to just buy cheap shoes. Why spend money? I mean, why these shoes are $48. These are $150. They look almost the same. They smell the same. Why would I spend that much more? And so I never did, and I had issues. And so now I'm carrying 150 pounds more than I normally would. And that's every step on the joints. And so I said, okay, I need better shoes. I'm going to buy the best shoes I can afford. And that's what I did. And it made a huge difference. I was able to actually do my walks, and while it wasn't comfortable, I mean, I wasn't hurting myself. I was able to do it. I still had to work through discomfort. Expensive shoes don't step for you. They just have better material, so that each one of those steps don't impact you as much as cheaper shoes. And this is not to demonize cheaper shoes. Shoes are shoes. I mean, if you need shoes, that's why I say the most expensive ones you can afford at the time where you're at. If $40 shoes are what you can afford, then carry on. This is not a something. This is not. I'm not trying to be elitist or something like you have to spend $150 on shoes. Just get the highest quality ones that you have the means to purchase, and then wear them and take care of them. If you have shoes that you just work out in, I mean, that's what you should do, is have a set. And how I did it is I'd have my shoes, even if they're the exact same pair, I always would put my newest shoes on to do my exercise. When I'm done, I do the whole Mr. Rogers thing, change those shoes, even if I'm going into the same exact pair or style, but the ones I'm going to wear around the rest of the day are older. And that way, the ones that you work out with are always, because that's when you're putting the most pressure on yourself. Those shoes are always in better shape, so because that's when you really need that. And then I rotate as those get older. Then I start wearing those as my everyday, my walk around shoes, and then I get the new ones, and then I only wear them when I'm exercising. And that way, that keeps their lifespan a little bit longer too. So I mean, if you can afford to do that, that's what I would definitely recommend. And then also, because with your work, I used to wear fancy shoes, like fancy dress shoes. And I hate fancy dress shoes. There's no arch support. There's no, and I don't like how they look. I don't like fancy leather shoes. That's just me. I don't wear suits. I wear tennis shoes pretty much all the time. Now, partly because I'm old and I don't care. They're comfortable. And they provide good support all day long. So that's, they're not the slip-on kind. I'm not that old where all I wear is slip-on shoes. All right. I'll put that out there. I tie my shoes every day. So, but that was the first real piece of self-care, purposeful self-care that I've done, and I've been on that self-care train ever since, because it is so important that we do that. And so it's important that we take care of ourselves, and it's important that we and sometimes we have to prioritize our self-care. Sometimes we especially now when money's not like flowing like some people said it was, and you have to prioritize your spending. It's really hard to prioritize spending on your self-care, because then you really start getting into, do I need this as much as we need something else? And that's unfortunate, but I get, you have to prioritize in this world, and so I understand that need. But I do massages, not like at least once a month, because that's self-care and I like it and it makes me feel better. So self-care is what makes the difference. It keeps us off the edge as much. Self-care builds resilience, and the resilience is what we need to stay away from being actively suicidal. I use self-care so I'm staying passive in my suicidality, not active. I don't want to go back to being active, and I don't want anyone to be active, and so we stay passive. Again, that's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is not to be suicidal, not to think about it, not to, so I don't want to make it sound like the best I could ever do is be passively suicidal. No, that's not my goal. My goal is to be mentally healthy. I would love to not think about that. It would be, and I get it. I have control over a portion of that, not all of it. We try to control what we think, but we're only successful part of the time, or a percentage of our success is going to be based on that, not the whole thing, because I don't think that's possible. So yeah, and I guess that's the whole thing. As times get a little tougher, and we're all kind of going through a real challenge time now, I think about buying shoes, not because I need shoes right now, but because I know that's a trigger. That's a self-care. It's like, okay, it's time for some self-care, and self-care is the best care. Self-care is where it's at. I know we have to do it smart, because if we don't and we run into financial problems, well, then that causes, we don't want to solve one problem by creating two other problems. So thought going into the whole process is good. The more thought you can put into it. But buy the shoes, and change them out. Like if you can afford to do it 4 times a year at minimum, like every quarter, and you just rotate, so you get some newer ones. And I always look for sales, because I don't mind buying if there's a killer deal and I can get good shoes on sale, and I'll keep the boxes under the bed until it's time, and then I'm ahead of the game. So and then rotate them. Then so every 3 to 4 months, I got new workout shoes that are coming on. Opening the box, pulling out new workout shoes, but then the old workout shoes I'm using as my daily drivers. And then my old daily drivers go to work shoes. Like shoes I could kind of thrash. Shoes that when you go out to pick up the dog poop or something, that's the shoes you wear for that. Or to work around the house, or to take a hike in the mud or something. You use those shoes for that, because then you don't. I'm kind of getting into the weeds on the shoe rotation thing, but it's all self-care, taking care of yourself, because that allows you to do more walking and to do more of the things that make you feel better. So remember, comfy shoes can help your mental attitude. Like anything else, it's how you see it. So Have a great day and keep fighting. And we'll talk more fashion on the next one. All right. Take care.